Hello friends, in last video lecture we studied the beautiful poem Indian Weavers. I already explained the meaning of three beautiful stanzas. In this lecture today we are going to learn more information about the poem, such as poetic device, central idea or theme of the poem and style of the poem. According to this poem has divided into three important stanzas. Each stanza which accumulated by different types of the figures of speech. So I would like to explain here from first line to last line which figure of speech occurred here. Look at the first line, Indian weavers. Weavers weaving at break of day. Weavers weaving at break of day. Here the poet used three important figure of speech such as alliteration, climax and metaphor. Why alliteration? Because the word W is repeated. Why metaphor? Because indirect comparison shown here. And why climax? Because according to the word break of the day, climax situations created here. So that's why in the first line the poet used here alliteration, climax and metaphor figure of speech. Look at the second line. Why do you weave a garment so gay? Is this the questions? Yes, is this the questions? That's why the poet used here interrogation figure of speech. And the words W, why, weave, and why do you weave a garment so gay? So here the word W, why and weave, first letter of the words why and weave, it's W. So here the poet explained alliteration figure of speech and interrogation figure of speech. Interrogation, why? Because there where is a question, it is interrogation. So that's why here the poet used interrogation figure of speech. Look at the third line. Blue as the wing of halcyon wild. Blue as the wing of halcyon wild. In this line the poet used the figure of speech such as inversion, alliteration and simile. Inversion, alliteration and simile, these three important figure of speech used in third line. Look at the fourth line. We wave the robes of a newborn child. We wave the robes of a newborn child. Here the alliteration figure of speech used by poet. We wave, WW. So here alliteration figure of speech. So in the first stanza poet used alliteration, climax, metaphor, interrogation, inversion and simile. This figure of speech mostly used in this first stanza. Look at the second stanza. In second stanza, first line, weavers weaving at fall of night. Here the poet used again alliteration, climax and metaphor figure of speech. Why metaphor? Because indirect comparisons given here. Why alliteration? Because the word W, weavers and weaving, is repeated. And why climax? Because of the climatic situations. Look at the next line. Why do you weave a garment so bright? Why do you weave a garment so bright? It is the question, that's why it is interrogations. And the word W, why, wave, That's why it is alliteration. So in the second line of second stanza is alliteration and interrogation. Third line of second stanza is like the plumes of peacock, purple and green. Like the plumes of peacock, purple and green. Here the poet used simile, anticlimax and alliteration, figure of speech. Simile, anticlimax and alliteration, figure of speech of second stanza's third line. And the fourth line of second stanza, we wave the marriage bells of a queen. Here the alliteration, figure of speech used by writer. Which figure of speech? Alliteration, figure of speech used by writer. So in second stanza again poet use alliteration, climax, metaphor, simile, anticlimax and interrogation, figure of speech. Look at the third stanza. First line, weavers weaving solemn and still. This line is highly meaningful. Weavers weaving solemn and still. Here the poet used the figure of speech such as alliteration, climax, paradox, anticlimax and tautology. I repeat once again. According to the first line of third stanza, the poet used here the figure of speech of alliteration, climax, paradox, anticlimax and tautology. Look at the second stanza, second line of third stanza. What do you wave in the moonlight chill? In this line the poet used interrogation, inversion, alliteration and metaphor. The poet used here interrogation, inversion, alliteration and metaphor, figure of speech. Next stanza, second last line of the poem. White as a feather and white as a cloud. White as a feather and white as a cloud. Poet use here repetition and simile, figure of speech. Poet use here repetition, figure of speech. White as a feather and white as a cloud. And the last line, we wave a dead man's funeral shroud. It is simile. Simile, figure of speech used by poet here. We wave a dead man's funeral shroud. So in last stanza, the poet used alliteration, climax, paradox, anticlimax, tautology, interrogation, inversion, metaphor, repetition, simile and alliteration. So many figure of speech is used here. So this poem is highly meaningful and highly figurative. Now let's see the rhyming scheme of the poem. Guess the rhyming scheme of the poem. Okay, all right. I'll just tell you the rhyming scheme of the poem. This poem has divided into 3 small stanzas and in 12 lines. So the poet used here the rhyming scheme of A, B, C, D, E. I will not tell you the last 2 lines, you can guess it. If you unable to write, you can tell me, I will tell you. Okay, just guess. First line, weavers weaving at a break of a day. A. Why do you weave a garment so gay? It is also A. Blue as the wing of the halcyon wild. It is also B. We wave the robes of a newborn child. It is also B. So in the first stanza, the poet used the rhyming scheme of A, B, B. Look at the second stanza. In second stanza, the poet used weavers weaving at fall of night. C. Why do you weave a garment so bright? C. Like the plumes of peacock, purple and green. D. We wave the marriage veils of a queen. D. So in second stanza, the poet used rhyming scheme of C, C, D, D. And look at the third stanza. Weavers weaving solemn and still. E. What do you weave in the moonlight chill? E. And guess, white as a feather and white as a cloud, we weave a dead man's funeral shroud. In the third stanza, I'll just tell you half line and you can guess another half lines. E. So this poem, rhyming scheme of this poem is that like this: A, B, B, C, C, D, D, E, E, and other remaining you can guess it. Now let's see the theme of the poem and central idea of the poem. According to the poem Indian Weavers, this poem is highly meaningful. This poem has shown the three types of garments that the weavers weave at three particular times of day. So the poem Indian Weavers highlights the craft and skill of Indian weavers. The poetess has very nicely presented three phases of life like childhood, youth age and old age. Means the life cycle is befittingly depicted from the work of weavers. So this is the central idea or theme of the poem. Next one is that the poet used here beautiful and different style of writing this poem. According to the poem talks about weavers making three types of garments. Here the poet described the three weavers which made the three types of the garments, means cloth. In the morning they make a garment of children that are blue. In the morning they make a garment of children that are blue. During the day they make the marriage veils of the queen, and at the night calm making white clothes. The poet describe here the weaver's work in three different types of the day, such as morning, second one afternoon on or evening, and third one the late night. Means you can realize the great hard work of the weavers. They woke up early in the morning and till midnight they continuously work, and they not only work but they work very beautifully, meaningfully and highly symbolically, different types of the colors, different types of the cloth. So here the poet described the life of the weavers, Indian weavers, how does they beautifully crafted the beautiful cloths for their meaning, for their purpose, and different types of the phases of life. So this poem, this is an indications of the different stages of human life. Childhood, being a youth, and adult or death. The poet uses different poetic devices such as symbolism and imagery to bring out the central idea that human beings passes through different phases of life, such as childhood, afterward youth age, and third one old age. which had shown the characteristic by the sorrows and joy. Now, according to the word sorrows and joy, look at the word sorrow. Sorrow means grief, unhappiness, and joy means pleasure or happy moments. Student, guess which times in our life it is joy and happy? Yes, obviously it is the timing of beginning, means morning. Here the new, when we born on this beautiful planet, that time it is whenever at home, if you see a newly born baby, it is a happy moment. We celebrate the happiness at pleasurable moment, because something happened early in the morning. It is positive views, and something happened good. That's why we celebrate the happy moments or pleasurable views, because of the beginning of our beginning of life. According to the second stage of or second phase of human life, it is a second phase of human life is a youth age. Youth means happy. In youth age, we do so many activities, and in that activities, wedding or marriage is one of the most important activities. We mostly do it at the time of youth age. So this is also happy moment. So the poet described here, when we born, that time it is also happy time. When we became young, that is also happy moment in our life. But journey towards our life, when we reach at the station of old age, it is the life of sorrows, because that time we have to face number of sorrows, number of problems in our day-to-day life. That time people hate us. We are just waiting for death, and here death means end of our life. So is it a happy or sorrow? Yes, it is the sorrow of our life. At the last line, the poet described the life philosophy of human life. We wave a dead man's funeral shroud. Weavers weaving the cloth which mostly used for the at the end of human life. Means when anybody is dead, that time we use for funeral ceremony, it is called the shroud. So it is white cloth. When you are going to shopping, that times we just choose different types of the colors for your different types of the cloths. Like girls, your different types of the dress, boys, your different types of the shirts, trousers, whatever your clothes, but you choose different types of the colors. Means human beings at the early stages of his life till to end, he just choose the different color symbolically, but at the end he use only the white cloth of the shroud, because that time no any option. We are not seeing which colors cloth people's wearing us. So it means that when we at the end of last stage, we don't have any option, we just accept whatever the given, whatever we just received. So this is very beautiful poem, Indian Weavers, written by Sarojini Naidu, great Indian poetess. Here the poet mentioned the beautiful and hardworking life of the Indian weavers. Thank you.